Well, the F175 event happened. I honestly don't really know how to feel about the event. I think parts of it were really good and parts of it were not. The host, Jack Whitehall, did a pretty good job. I liked some of the team's presentations. Some of them weren't great and dragged on too long. Alpine. And I think for me, part of the reason why I like each individual team doing it is I kind of like having a little bit more of the technical focus, because that is a part of F1 that I actually really enjoy. So I feel like that was missing from this event, but I think most of the teams are still gonna be doing that kind of solo event in the next week or so here. So those were my thoughts on the event, and now let's get to the liveries. As per usual, I'm going to do this in the form of a tier list and rank all 10 F1 team liveries from my favorite to my least favorite. So this year I have 5 categories. I have my number 1 boy. I have Gorge, still good, fine, and disappointed. First up, we have the Sauber. Honestly, this might be a bit of a hot take, but I'm putting it in Gorge. I like seeing color, and so the front on view, the fact that it is very green, I really like. And I also really like the gradient effect with the green. I wish that it kind of extended a little bit more, just because I feel like it's a little abrupt. This car is definitely an improvement on their car from 2024. The biggest concern for them I have, though, is the fact that there are no sponsors on this car, which is nice from a livery perspective, but a bit concerning when you're thinking about Audi taking over and the fact that that doesn't seem to be drawing new sponsorship in. Yeah, but overall, really like the car. Next up is Mercedes, and Mercedes I'm throwing in still good. It's very similar to their car from 2024, but the thing that's missing that I didn't realize until later is the Ineos red. It's missing from the engine cover and it's missing from the underside of the rear wing, which is a very interesting thing. So I don't know if there's negotiations going on behind the scenes there, and if this is not the actual car that they'll race with, if there's something that's going to be discussed there, or if that's just not going to happen at all and maybe Ineos is getting bought out, because I believe they own a third of the Mercedes team. So yeah, very, very interesting. But I do really like the Petronas green that's in this livery. I like the detailing with the little Mercedes tri-pointed star. But yeah, very similar car to last year. And so last year I think it was my favorite car, but this year I feel like other cars went a little bit more colorful, and so it kind of just, it's a good livery, but they didn't really change anything, so it's going in still good. Next up is the Ferrari. And Ferrari, I'm disappointed. I do not like this livery at all. And the fact that it is a red car will automatically bump it up for me, but the white just absolutely ruins it. I would be on board with the white if they had it in better places and they made it flow a little bit better. Like the fact that the front wing is half white, half black, it just looks clunky. The white on the rear wing doesn't look that great, so I don't like the front view. Side view is a little bit better, but I don't really like the angle of the white on the cover But honestly, overall, the HP logo is ruining this car. And I've seen some markups of people making the blue HP logo either black or white, or even making it red, which isn't in their branding, but any of those options is better than the blue. The blue just doesn't fit with this car, and it doesn't fit with Ferrari. It's just, I hate it so much. And honestly, it's adding to the number of reasons for me to boycott HP. I honestly feel like F1 fans should boycott HP until they change the color of the logo on this Ferrari car. Oh, and then we didn't even see this detailing at the F175 show, but the underside of the wing is blue. What part of a Ferrari should ever be blue? This car just makes me so angry, and I'm so disappointed in Ferrari because there's so much hype around this season coming in with Lewis joining the team, and it's just bleh. Their car is bleh, and I hate it, and I'm so mad, and this is my rant. And Ferrari, fix it, discuss with HP, get them to change it so that you can put just their white branding logo or their black branding logo. Either of those options is better than the blue. The blue does not work. Okay, I'm done. Next up is the McLaren, and the McLaren is going in still good as well. I still like this car quite a bit. I think without the blue on it that it had from prior years, I think it looks a lot better, but they've literally made it the exact same as last year, which, like, honestly, I kind of understand, because when you win the constructors, there's kind of a legacy with that car, and so I think that's what they're trying to do is build that legacy, kind of like they did with their old Marlboro McLarens and their Vodafone McLarens. And so, like, if you're gonna win the constructors, you may as well keep the car the same the next year to kind of carry on that kind of momentum. So I get why they did it. Am I sad that they did it when they have such a plethora of options and history to look back on and say we could do something really fun with the livery? Yes. Was it disappointing to end the F175 event on the exact same car? Yes. So it's going in still good. It's a nice livery. I just wish they would have changed something. Next up is Williams, and it is going in fine. I still love the Duracell battery. I think it's the smartest brand decision that any team has made in the past few years. But overall, the car is very similar to last year's. I think it's clear how much more sponsorship money has come in with the amount of sponsors on this car now. Yeah, I think just overall, it's a bit of a boring car. Next up is the Racing Bull, and this is my number one boy. I love it so much, but if I'm being honest, when they first showed the car, I got kind of excited when Yuki and Isaac walked out and they had a lot more green detailing on their racing suits. And so I was like, oh my God, there's going to be more green on this car. And so I was getting kind of excited about that. But then they revealed the car and there was no green on it. And I got initially kind of disappointed. And I kind of let that disappointment impact my initial impression of the car. But the more I look at this car, the more I love it. I love the little stenciling details of the bulls that kind of makes the gradient into the blue at the back. I love that it's basically the Honda livery from 2021, where I think it was the race they raced in Turkey, which was supposed to be the Japanese Grand Prix, but they didn't run it that year because of COVID, so they ran it in Turkey instead. Yeah, I love that they went white. I love that they've went back to the Red Bull kind of branding with it. And I think a lot of the sponsorships work with it. The Visa works in the color scheme. And it's just overall just a gorgeous car. And I honestly, looking at this car, I don't think there's anything that I would change with it. It's that good. So A+ job on the livery to the Racing Bulls team. Probably the only good thing that they will do this year. Next up is Haas, and Haas for me is going in fine, below the Williams. I've said this year after year, but I wish that the Haas would do something different. They're the American team. They could lean into the glitz and the gaudiness that America can be sometimes, but they just stick with this boring black and white livery with a little bit of red detailing. And I just don't love it. I like the side view of this car quite a bit, but the front view has just got too much going on, and there's nothing really special about this car. And so it's always a bit of a disappointment every year. I miss the days of the rich energy gold and black cars. Do something fun like that, I think, would be a better move for Haas. Next up is the Alpine, and the Alpine for me is going in gorge ahead of the Sauber. I have been saying for ages that I wish that this team would lean more into the pink. because it is a unique color on the grid. It will make the Alpine stand out way more because there were way too many blue cars on the grid at one point, and they finally embraced the pink. I'm hoping that they don't scratch it off and replace it with carbon like they did last year. I really like the glossy blue paint. I like that the BWT logo is fully pink. And I think they've moved away from the kind of French branding that the car used to have with the red, and they've just gone fully into just blue and pink, and I like it so much more than their past few liveries. So I think they've done a stellar job with this, and I'm excited that we're bringing color back to the grid this year. I think that was something that was really missing in 2024, but this year there's a lot of different colors, and I don't think we will get as many of the cars mixed up this year as we have in past years. Next up is the Red Bull, and the Red Bull's going in still good. It is an iconic livery. They've done it year after year. You know exactly what you're going to expect. I would have bet my house that this car would be identical to prior years. If it ain't broke, don't fix it. But the Red Bull is just the Red Bull. It's a nice livery. I understand why they keep it every year. I just wish they would mix it up for once and go with like a white Red Bull, or go with a red Red Bull. Although maybe that's too close to Ferrari. Or like a yellow Red Bull, you know? The navy, whatever. Go with like a different blue. Go with like a more colorful blue. Like they can do so many things with it without like changing the iconic brand with it. Because like the Red Bull on the top, keep that always. But you can do something different with the rest of the car. And it just kind of bugs me that they never do. But I get it. But yeah, still a good livery. It's iconic. I'm just mad that they never change it. And finally, we have the Aston Martin. I think I'm gonna put it in disappointed. It's gotta go ahead of the Ferrari. I'm so mad about the Ferrari. But this one isn't that much better. I think it's just such a downgrade from past years. They've gone a lot more carbon with the car this year, and the carbon is a significant portion of the side pod, which was the part that kind of always was more glossy and stood out on the car. I feel like the lime green isn't really as significant on this car. The color didn't really seem to shine as much, and yeah, I'm just disappointed in the direction they went with this. I wish they would have brought a bit more color to it, and I don't know, I think it's just getting a little bit boring maybe. I think the first year that they came out with this livery, it was really, really nice, but I think it's gotten a bit stale now, and I think it's one of the cars that it doesn't stand out on the track, and I think they need to do something to make it stand out, especially next year going into 2026. They should change something up there because it's kind of same old. But yeah, there isn't anything that I really hate about this car like I do with the Ferrari, but I don't know, it's just not doing it for me this year. So I haven't been disappointed. So yeah, that is my ranking of the 10 F1 liveries for 2025. Let me know how you rank them in the comments down below, and also let me know what you thought about the F175 event. I think overall, I would say it was nice as a one-off thing. I don't know if I would do it every year, but kind of cool to celebrate a bit of the history of F1 and get everyone together. And there was a lot of good memes that came out of it too, so you can never be disappointed with memes. I'm hoping to be gearing up a little bit more in the next couple weeks for the new F1 season. I'll be doing a driver ranking as well as my 2026 driver lineup prediction. So stay tuned for that content, and see you all next week.